So when you're standing in the rain again, oh, you don't have to feel so blue. Don't let that smile leave you. You know, you'll have to know why too. Everybody knows how to love. You gotta keep with the sun above. It's so easy, you know, that grace, you know, yes, grace, it got you sing. So the back row hears you glide, 'cause walking just won't do, dance. You don't have to know how to. Ever since grace got you. Laugh till the whole side's hurting. Smile like you got away with something. Why? 'Cause you just got away with something. Ever since grace got you, yeah. Grace got you now. Grace got you now. Hey, you know it's right inside you. Oh, you just sing till the back row hears you glide. 'Cause walking just won't do, dance. You don't have to know how to. Ever since grace got you. Laugh till your whole side's hurting and smile. You just got away with something. Why? 'Cause you just got away with something. Ever since grace got you. Grace got you. Yeah.
Thank you, Grace.
Amen. So now, today, we have a special treat. Our beautiful next generation Unity College student and now Board of Trustees Secretary Marilyn Connelly will share her experiences from her semester abroad in Japan. Marilyn, who began attending Unity when she was 10 days old, realized her lifetime dream of going to Japan this year, and it was more than she expected. Marilyn is here to talk about her experiences in Japan and her interesting and heart-opening insights.
I do, yeah. I'm okay.
Except Marilyn, we all agree with you.
So, I apologize. This talk is called Grace in Japan, but it's just kind of come to me over the last couple days, so I don't really know how much it really is about grace. So y'all can let me know at the end of the service. So Tony asked me to come and talk about my experience in Japan, and I was really excited to. But I didn't really know how to approach the topic because my time in Japan was probably the least spiritual time in my life, I think. You know, a lot of Unity is about the independence we find here and like the control we have over our spiritual life. We know that God loves us unconditionally, so you kind of learn that, and then the only point of like going to church is the community and the support we find here. And I realized as someone who's been going to Unity my whole life that the community was very important to me and my spirituality. This church was there for me when I first started college, and I had no idea how to make friends. I felt so alone, but I could always come here. And so I didn't know how I was going to react or get by when I was going into this new experience without having y'all to kind of fall back on. So how did I do? Not great, apparently. I was so worried about being alone and not being able to make friends when I left. My therapist at the time kept telling me that, you know, you're not the same person that you were back then, and you can do it, and you've changed. And she was right. So luckily I was able to get over my shyness and, you know, make connections with people and stuff. But without my church family to fall back on and support me and keep me grounded, I fell into a lot of, you know, old, like, negative habits. The biggest of which, you know, being gossiping. I kind of let a lot of the drama that was happening kind of permeate my life. And, you know, it's really easy to fall into that when you're in a smaller community where everyone knows each other, and you're all stressed out all the time. It just, it happened so quickly you don't even like understand it's happening until you're already in it. And you're like, oh no, this is life depleting, as Tony would say. But it reminded me a lot of the book, The Complaint-Free World, which is something that Tony did a talk about like years ago. And basically, the idea is that we want to try to break this habit of complaining, and gossiping is part of that. In Unity, we know that negative energy and drawing attention to negative energy creates more negative energy and brings more into our lives. And so it's easy to gossip and have a fatalistic outlook in such a small school setting, and it was easy to see the results of that. People would talk bad about other people, and then at the same time, every time they were talking about everything else in their life, everything was going terrible, and like things just weren't gonna work out, and like, oh, I guess I'll just die. Like, I don't know how harsh that seems to y'all, but this kind of, guess I'll just die kind of humor is pretty common among people my age. Myrtle Fillmore says in one of her letters, contemplating our impermanence and imminent death will give more of a sense, sorry, this is the Dalai Lama. The Dalai Lama says, in a profound mind, contemplating our impermanence and imminent death will give more of a sense of urgency to our use of our current human incarnation. Without an appreciation for the opportunities our fleeting human life accords us, I feel that our contemplation of death would seem depressing and even masochistic.
Could you say that again?
Yes, sir. More slowly and clearly. Contemplating our impermanence and imminent death will give more of a sense of urgency to our use of our current human incarnation. Without an appreciation for the opportunities our fleeting human life accords us, I feel that our contemplation of death would seem depressing and even masochistic. So, I think it can be useful when you're in a stressful situation or struggling with your mental health. It can be really helpful to draw light to the negative emotions you're feeling, and it kind of being able to make jokes about it, like, takes the edge off and kind of helps to take the power away from how you're feeling. Because the truth of the joke is that, just because you have a paper due tomorrow and you're stressed about it, you're not actually gonna die. So these kind of jokes can be helpful for starting to work your way out of a depressive state. But I propose that if you're trying to create a more healthy, life-affirming life, they have got to go. The best way to shift this is through affirmations and denials. This one is from Myrtle Fillmore. She says, the conditions you seem to make so much of are a result of negative beliefs. So long as you keep them in your mind and dwell upon them, where is there room in your thoughts for the pure healing ideas? It's not as fun, but when I was in the greatest depths of my depression, I used denials a lot. I would have these really dark, intrusive thoughts, and I'd kind of watch them and wait and see how far it would go until it was just obvious that it wasn't true. And I'd literally say to myself in my head, like, stop being so dramatic. Like, that's just ridiculous. I'd be somewhere trying to talk to someone and I'd just feel too shy and I'd be like, oh, I'm just so shy, like I wasn't able to talk to this person, I can't talk to anyone, like everybody hates me and like blah blah blah, and then obviously that's not true. Just say, stop being silly, like you don't need that. So that's kind of how I've used denials in my life. And as for affirmations, in a stressful situation, be more honest with yourself. Realize where you are. Wow, I'm in this stressful situation, but I've made it through every stressful situation up to now, and it's going to be over soon, and I'm gonna make it through this one too. So that's kind of our work. I have one more little thing, but it's easy to get caught up in these negative mind patterns, but using the principles that we know and the energy that we have, we can move through it. It's simple, but not necessarily easy. So now I'd like to talk to you about how I did stay spiritually connected while I was in Japan. Like I said, I found that I really need structure in the things that I want to do, even the things that I really love and the things I know are good for me. If I don't have somewhere to go and do it at a set time, it doesn't happen. Like, I've been telling myself that I'm going to create this personal meditation practice for forever, but I'm not there yet. So I tried to go to the Quaker meeting in Tokyo, and it was just lovely. And they're so inviting and welcoming, but it was just too far to go every Sunday. It was about an hour and a half, 2 hours on the train, and so it just didn't make sense for me. So what I relied on for my spirituality and my growth was all of the shrines that are in Japan. If you don't know, there are shrines all over Japan. There are little ones and big ones. Some have to do with the Shinto religion, which is their like polytheistic religion, and some have to do with Buddhism. Some of the bigger sites are called power spots, where presumably you go and it just has, it's a power spot. You go and you recharge your spiritual energy because it's got so much to give. And when my teacher was talking about this, it was pretty clear that she thought it was baloney, but you can feel the spiritual energy in a place, and I found it to be true. I think, spiritual energy permeates no matter what the religion is. You can kind of tell when you're in somewhere meditative. And so going to a shrine, depending on which one, there were usually different little charms you could get, or like side activities surrounding like fortunes and stuff that you could do. But the main process was that you would walk up to this shrine, and it usually had some sort of sacred artifact in it or something you couldn't see. It's kind of in its own little house. And there was a box in front, and you would throw in a coin into the box. Usually 5 yen coins were the luckiest, is what I was told. And then you would clap twice and make your little prayer. And so I would actually pray and kind of get in that like spiritual state, and then you bow and you clap again, and then you go on your way. And I don't have a big message for that one. I just wanted to share my experience with y'all. But if you wanted to take something away, I think, you know, the only way I could connect with my spirituality over there was to change my idea of what spirituality looked like. And so maybe to bring more God into your life, there's something that you might be able to change your perspective on and see for the spirituality that it is. That's all I have to say. Yeah. So, thank you.
We at Unity in the Heart of Austin are committed to inspiring people to awaken to their unique divine nature through spiritual teachings, through heart-to-heart connections, through prayer, and through sacred service. And we provide tools, spiritual tools, that allow you to live your best possible life. I'm Reverend Tony Roebuck, minister at Unity in the Heart of Austin, and I truly hope that you are inspired by and that you are transformed by, you enjoy this week's spiritual message. And if you would like to leave a donation, a tithe, to help the work of this ministry in supporting you and others like you, then we are truly grateful for your generosity and for helping to make the world a better place. Because we know that life is meant to be good.